Hey everyone, welcome back to SwitchTop. Today, we're talking about the absolute best RPGs on Nintendo Switch games that earned perfect scores for good reason. These are the RPGs that consumed hundreds of hours of my life, and I regret nothing. Let's count down the top 10 perfect 10 out of 10 RPGs you can play on Switch right now. Dragon Quest XI's is a love letter to classic JRPGs with a story that starts simple but evolves into something epic. You play as the Luminary, a young man who discovers he's the reincarnation of a legendary hero, but the kingdom brands you as a darkspawn instead of celebrating you. The turn-based combat lets you see enemies on the field before fighting, and battles flow smoothly with a party system where you can switch characters mid-fight to exploit weaknesses. The draconian quest settings let you customize difficulty in specific ways, like stronger enemies or no fleeing from battle. The Switch version adds full voice acting in English and Japanese, an orchestral soundtrack, and a 16-bit mode that lets you play the entire game in retro graphics. There's a massive post-game story that's almost as long as the main quest, and the world is filled with side activities like casino games, crafting at the Fun Size Forge, and monster riding. Combat never feels grindy because enemy encounters are visible and avoidable, and the pet power system creates powerful team-up attacks when characters get fired up during battle.
Crikey!
Unicorn Overlord brings tactical RPG gameplay to a fantasy world where you lead a liberation army to reclaim your kingdom from an empire that betrayed and conquered it. You play as Prince Elaine, who must build an army and forge alliances across 5 different nations, each with their own political conflicts and cultures. The real-time tactical combat is unique because you set up your units with specific tactics and formations before battle, then watch them execute your strategy automatically while you can pause to adjust positioning and give commands. You'll recruit over 60 characters, each with distinct classes and abilities that synergize in different unit compositions. The rapport system lets characters build relationships that unlock powerful assists in combat and affects the story ending. Between battles, you'll liberate towns, manage resources, upgrade your units at the tavern, and forge equipment that drastically changes how characters perform. The game respects your time with fast combat animations and the ability to speed things up, while the beautiful 2D art style makes every character and environment pop with detail.
Brace yourself!
Does this suit you?
Witness the royal blade!
Trails in the Sky starts as a light-hearted adventure about 2 young bracers in training, but gradually reveals a conspiracy that threatens the entire kingdom. You play as Estelle, an energetic girl training to follow in her father's footsteps as a bracer, basically a mercenary for hire who helps regular people with problems. The turn-based combat uses a grid system where positioning matters, and the orbment system lets you customize each character's magic by slotting different quartz combinations that unlock spells and stat boosts. Combat has a turn order you can see, letting you plan around when enemies act, and special moves called S-crafts can be unleashed at any time by spending CP points for clutch moments. The story is dialogue-heavy, but every conversation feels meaningful, building a world where even random NPCs have their own lives and change their dialogue as events unfold. You'll take on quests posted on Bracer guild boards, investigate mysteries, and slowly uncover how everything connects to a larger plot. The game takes its time building characters and world, so by the time major events happen, you're completely invested.
I'll be your opponent. Not done yet.
Not done yet!
Dragon Quest I and II HD 2D Remake modernizes the 2 games that started the entire JRPG genre with gorgeous HD 2D visuals that blend pixel sprites with 3D environments. The first game is a solo adventure where you're the descendant of Erdrick, tasked with rescuing a princess and defeating the Dragon Lord who's corrupted the land. It's simple and pure, just you exploring a world, fighting monsters in random encounters, and gradually getting stronger. Dragon Quest II expands this with a party of 3 descendants of Erdrick working together to stop the wizard Hargon. The remakes add quality-of-life features like quest markers, faster battle speed, and a minimap, while preserving the core challenge and progression of the originals. You'll explore dungeons, find hidden items using the return spell that warps you back to town, and manage limited inventory space and gold carefully. The battles are straightforward turn-based affairs where you pick commands for each character, but the challenge comes from resource management since healing items are expensive and magic points are limited. These games show you where JRPGs came from, and experiencing them with modern conveniences makes them feel surprisingly fresh despite their age. Octopath Traveler II refines everything from the first game, with 8 distinct protagonists, each with their own complete story spanning different regions and time periods in the world of Celestia. You can start with any character, and their stories intertwine in subtle ways without forcing a single narrative. The break and boost system defines combat, where you discover enemy weaknesses, break their defense by hitting those weaknesses enough times, then boost your attacks during their vulnerable state for massive damage. Each character has a unique path action they use in towns, like Oswald's study ability to learn information, Throne's steal to take items from NPCs, or Hikari's challenge to duel anyone. The job system lets you equip secondary jobs to any character, creating powerful combinations, and latent powers give each character an ultimate mode that changes their capabilities temporarily. Day and night cycles affect what NPCs are available and which path actions work, adding strategy to exploration. The HD 2D graphics are stunning, with lighting effects that make towns glow at sunset and dungeons feel appropriately dark and dangerous.
Here I come. My blade sings. Go!
Xenoblade Chronicles III delivers an emotionally devastating story about soldiers from 2 nations who are born, fight, and die within a 10-year lifespan in an endless war. You control 6 characters, 3 from each nation, who become fused together and discover their world isn't what they believed. The real-time combat has you controlling one character while AI handles the others, chaining attacks together by positioning correctly and timing art abilities that have cooldowns. The class system is incredibly deep, with characters able to switch between over 20 classes, mastering each one to learn skills you can mix and match. Ouroboros transformations let pairs of characters fuse into powerful beings with unique movesets and devastating chain attacks that can involve all 6 party members in coordinated strikes. The world is massive, with distinct regions, each telling environmental stories, and filled with side quests that develop both the world and your party members. Chain attacks pause combat and let you strategically order character actions to build damage multipliers and extend the chain. Hero characters can be recruited to fight alongside you and unlock their class for your main party, giving you even more customization options.
Something so valuable here.
Final Fantasy XII, the Zodiac Age, takes place in Ivalice, a world where kingdoms war over magic crystals and airship technology, and follows Vaughn, a street orphan who gets caught up in a resistance movement against an occupying empire. The Gambit system is the game's signature feature, letting you program each character's AI with conditional commands like, if ally HP below 50%, use potion, or if enemy weak to fire, cast fire spell, essentially creating your own tactical AI. Combat happens in real time in the environments you explore, with no separate battle screens, and you can see enemies and choose to engage or avoid them. The Zodiac job system gives each character 2 job licenses to unlock from 12 options, determining what equipment and abilities they can use, creating endless party composition possibilities. Quickenings are powerful limit breaks that chain between characters, and summoning espers brings massive creatures that you can also program with gambits. The story deals with political intrigue and war, rather than saving the world from a dark lord, giving it a mature tone. Hunts provide challenging optional boss fights, and the fast-forward feature built into the remaster lets you speed through exploration and grinding without breaking the game's balance. Tears of the Kingdom expands on Breath of the Wild, with Link searching for Zelda after an ancient evil awakens beneath Hyrule Castle, corrupting his arm and shattering the land. The Ultra Hand ability lets you stick objects together to build vehicles, bridges, and complex contraptions, limited only by your creativity. Fuse transforms combat by letting you attach materials to weapons and shields, creating unique effects like attaching a ruby to an arrow for fire damage or fusing a monster horn to a sword for extra power. Ascend lets you phase through ceilings to reach higher areas, and Recall rewinds objects through time, turning enemy projectiles against them or riding platforms that fell from the sky. The world now has 3 layers: Sky Islands floating above Hyrule, the familiar surface completely transformed by the upheaval, and the massive depths underground where gloom-infected enemies and rare materials await. Shrines return with physics puzzles that utilize your new abilities in creative ways, and the 4 main temples blend traditional dungeon design with the exploration freedom. Building machines using Zonai devices like fans, wheels, and rockets becomes essential for puzzles and reaching distant sky islands. Persona 5 Royal casts you as a high school student falsely accused of assault who transfers to Tokyo on probation, only to discover you can enter a cognitive world where corrupt adults' distorted desires manifest as palaces you must infiltrate to steal their hearts and force confessions. You balance daily life, managing relationships with confidants, studying to raise your knowledge stat, working part-time jobs, and exploring Tokyo, with dungeon crawling in the metaverse where you fight shadows using your persona. The press-turn combat system rewards hitting enemy weaknesses with extra actions, and triggering an all-out attack when all enemies are knocked down deals massive damage with stylish cutscenes. You can recruit enemy shadows by negotiating with them, then fuse multiple personas together in the Velvet Room to create stronger ones that inherit skills, creating hundreds of build possibilities. Confidant relationships aren't just story content. They unlock powerful abilities like switching party members mid-battle or getting a second chance when you die. Royal adds an entire new semester, a new party member with her own palace, and quality of life improvements like grappling hooks for dungeon traversal.
It's been a while since we last, but this time...
Persona! Go down!
Breath of the Wild opens with Link awakening after a 100-year sleep to find Hyrule destroyed by Calamity Ganon, with Princess Zelda holding the beast at bay inside Hyrule Castle, while waiting for Link to grow strong enough to finish the fight. The chemistry engine creates emergent gameplay, where fire spreads through grass, metal conducts electricity, and ice melts, letting you solve problems creatively rather than following intended solutions. You can climb virtually any surface if you have stamina, glide from heights with your paraglider, and approach objectives from any direction. The weapon durability system forces you to constantly try new gear instead of sticking with one sword, and cooking ingredients create meals that boost health, stamina, or grant resistances to weather and elements. Shrines scattered across Hyrule contain physics puzzles using your rune abilities: Magnesis to move metal objects, Stasis to freeze objects in time, Cryonis to create ice pillars in water, and remote bombs. The 4 divine beasts are living dungeons you must free from Ganon's corruption, each with unique mechanics like rotating sections or controlling water levels. Combat rewards creativity, whether you're shield surfing to dodge, using updrafts from fires to gain height, or rolling boulders down on enemy camps. And there we go, the top 10 perfect 10 out of 10 RPGs on Nintendo Switch. These games represent hundreds of hours of incredible adventures, and every single one earned its perfect score. What's your favorite RPG on Switch? Let me know in the comments. And if you haven't played all of these, which one are you jumping into next? Hit that like button and subscribe to SwitchTop for more Nintendo Switch content.